So the last topic for the structures is functions and structures. We will see how to handle the structures when we have functions in hand. So as far as the functions are concerned, we can send and get back the individual member of a structure, or we can send and get back the entire instance of that structure. Okay. So first we'll see the first category where we are sending only one individual or some different individual members separately for the function. Okay. And for that we'll consider the example of representing a point in a 2D plane that we covered initially. So I have a structure called as a point, and that point is basically having the two coordinates x and the y coordinate, and char p will denote the name of that point on the plane. Okay. So let's see how to pass the individual member. So I have declared a structure globally. Now I will have one main function and I will also have one user defined function. Okay. So what I can do is first, okay, let's declare that function. So display is the function. Okay. So it is basically going to accept two values. So I will typically send the x and y values for this function. Okay. So I have declared it. Now I will write down my main function. Okay. So inside the main function, I have one instance of type point, and I have declared it as p. Okay. Now p is going to get the values, let's say 2, 3 and some name z. Okay. So I have given hard-coded values. If you don't understand this, then you can separately write down like p point x equal to 2, p point y equal to 3, and p dot p equal to z. I think I have, okay, I can take some another name over here. Let's say pt, just to avoid the confusion. Okay, so pt is the variable whose type is point, and the values for pt is according to this structure. Okay, so in the x, so pt dot x will be 2, pt dot y will be 3, and pt dot p will be z. Okay, if you are confused with this, you can separately write down the three statements by writing pt dot x equal to 2, pt dot y equal to 3. Okay, so now I have created an instance. What I will do is I will pass the individual members to the function display. So display is going to accept two integers. So I can pass pt dot x. So I'm passing the x coordinate. Then I'm passing pt dot y. Okay, so the y coordinate of point pt. Okay, that's it. So the main is okay. Now I will write down the definition for my user defined function display. So the flow of the program is like this. Okay, so this and then this thing. Okay. Now inside the display function, when I have passed pt dot x and pt dot y, so these values will be copied in a one-to-one fashion into a and b. Okay, so whatever is there in pt dot x will be copied into a, and whatever is there into pt dot y will be copied to b. And inside the function display, if I write, let's say a equal to a plus 1, and I can do b equal to b minus 1, I can simply print here whatever is the value of a and b. And since I am not returning anything, so I can keep the return type void. Okay. So this is how we will deal with the individual members when we have to pass them to a function. So you can just do pt dot x, pt dot y, pass them as the parameters, and inside the function you can handle them with the same data type. Now you have to be aware that the data type that you are writing for here and the data type of the calling parameters have to be similar. Okay, if I write something like char a and char b, then it will create an ambiguity. Okay, so this was the first type. Now we'll go on for the second type, where we'll pass the complete instance to a function. So we'll see now the second category where we'll pass the entire instance to a function, and that particular function will also give you back or return back similar kind of a instance. Okay. So let's consider the same definition of a point where x and y coordinates are mentioned and the name of that point is mentioned in the variable p. So I want to write a display function just like we wrote for the previous program. So let's write it as display. Okay. Can you guess what should be the return type of this function? If I want the instance of this structure point to be returned, then what should be the return type for the display? It should be the data type that you have created, which is a point. Okay. So please note that the return type here will be this point. So if I have to write it clearly, this should be point. Okay. And this display function will accept one instance. Okay. So that could be, let's call it P, or let's call it T. Okay. Okay. And the type of T is again point. So I have declared it. Remember that this complete definition of the structure has to be written globally. Okay, so this definition is not a part of any program. It has to be written outside all the functions, which is global. Okay. So the next thing is I will write down the main. So let's write the main function. Inside the main, I will create one instance of point. Let's create point pt. Similarly, I will assign the values. So the x coordinate of point pt is 2, the y coordinate is 3, and the name of the point is z. Okay. Now I want to call this display function, okay, and pass this entire instance pt. Okay. And in the definition of the display, which is again a point, the return type is point. For this display function, it will accept a variable whose type is point. Let's call it t. Okay. Now what will happen inside this is I will directly write down t dot x equal to whatever is there in t dot x plus 1, then t dot y equal to whatever is there in t dot y minus 1. So I have incremented the x coordinate and I have decremented the y coordinate, and at the end now I want to return this t instance back to the calling function. So I will write return t. Okay. Now you'll appreciate when I am returning t. So basically the return type of the function has to be the data type of t, and the data type of t is nothing but point. Okay. And since I am returning this t to the calling function, it has to be received in the variable which is also of the same data type. Okay. So I will create one another. I will create it here itself. Okay, or let's create it here. So after this, I can create, let's say, let's give it a name D. Okay, so D is the instance which is also of the type point, and I will write it over here as D equal to this thing. And when I will try to print the values of D over here as D dot x, comma D dot y. Okay. So now how this will be executed is, first this pt is sent to the function display. So this entire set of values will be sent. Okay. So whatever was there in the pt will now be copied to t. Okay. And if I refer to t dot x, it will refer nothing but to 2. And if I refer to t dot y, that means I am referring to 3. and let's say if I refer to t dot z, then I will refer to the letter z. Okay, sorry, t dot p, then I will refer to the letter z. Okay, and I have made some changes in the t, and I returned that t back to my calling function. So whatever was the changed values will be returned back, and now it will be stored in the d. Okay, and the values of d will be printed as d dot x and d dot y. Okay, so can you guess what will be printed in place of d dot x and d dot y? It will be 3 and 4. Okay, because the 2 and 3 were passed, I manipulate, sorry, not, it will be 3 comma 2. Okay, it will be 3 comma 2 because I have incremented the t dot x and I decremented the y coordinate. So 2 will be incremented by 1, so it will be 3 at this place, and 3 will be decremented by 1, so it will be 2 at this place. So this is how you can send the entire PT instance to the function and catch it in the similar instance of the same type. Okay, and while returning, that should also be received in the instance of the same type. Okay, so remember that this PT, this D, this T are all of type point. Okay. One more thing that I want to emphasize here is when we passed one individual member, such as here, if I pass pt.x and make some changes at this place, that will not reflect on pt because the individual members are passed by value, okay, and not by passed by reference. And let's suppose if this definition consists of an array, okay, so if let's say point consists of some array and the complete instance is passed, okay, and I make some changes over here inside that array, then the results will not reflect back on the main, okay, in the sense that if array is present inside the structure definition and if you pass it to a function and manipulate, the changes will not reflect in the main. That means in this case arrays are not called by reference. Whereas if it is a normal array which is not the part of the structure definition and you pass it to a function, make some changes and get back the result and try to see it at the main, then the changes would have been reflected. Okay. So one thing that you need to remember is whatever you pass over here is by call by value, and the changes that you make over here will not reflect onto your original variables inside the main. Now we'll see one more sophisticated example that we have also covered by using just a main function. What you have to do now is I have created a complex tag structure definition which consists of a real part that represents the real part of of the complex number and the imaginary part. So what you have to do is you have to write down the two definitions, okay, for the functions called as complex add and complex sub, which will basically take in two complex numbers and it will return back the addition of them. Similarly, complex sub will take two complex numbers and will return back the difference of them. Okay, so now what you can do is you can just pause the video and just try to write down the solution on your own and try to execute it if it's possible, and after that you can just resume the video and check out the solution. Okay, so let's go back to the compiler and see how these functions can be written. Till that you can just pause and try it on your own.
This is the program for addition and subtraction of two complex numbers by writing a separate user-defined functions. So as you can see, I have globally declared a structure definition called as complex tag. It consists of real and the imaginary part to represent any complex numbers. Then I have returned two user-defined functions, add and sub, whose return type is complex tag. Okay, because it is going to return the result which is the instance of the type complex tag. Both the functions add and sub are going to accept a and b, which are the complex numbers, and the type of those variables a and b, or the type of those instances a and b, is complex tag. So inside that I have written a logic. Okay, but before that I have taken a temporary instance C whose data type is complex tag. Now here you will appreciate why I am always declaring the structure definition globally. Okay, because any function must be able to create an instance of that structure. Had I written this structure definition inside the main function, then there would be problem for creating a temporary instance inside the functions add and sub. Okay. And then I have written the logic for adding the real and the imaginary part respectively. And then inside the sub, the corresponding real and imaginary parts are just subtracted and the result is written. So this C is written, one instance has been written, and therefore the data type complex tag, because the data type of C is the complex tag. And inside the main I have declared X and Y, which will store the two input numbers, two complex numbers, and then AD and SB will store the result that was returned back from the function. So using scanf, I have put in the values in the instances X and Y. Those instances X and Y are sent to the functions add and sub, and whatever was returned by those functions is stored in AD and SB. So AD basically is storing the result of addition of complex numbers X and Y, which was returned by the function add. Okay, and SB is storing the result of the function subtraction. Okay, so this subtraction is the sub is the function that has returned the result by subtracting the two numbers, and at the end I have printed those numbers, such as the addition is in this format, subtraction is in this format, and I have written the subsequent members corresponding to the AD and SB. So this is how you will handle the user defined functions. Remember that the structure definition has to be written globally in case you want to make or create any instance of that structure inside the functions. So there marks the end of this topic of the structures. I hope you have understood most of the portions of it. Let me know in the comment section what you feel about the videos that I have posted, and you can now start solving the assignments. Okay. Thank you so much.